just this would like to tell you what are the impact the machine learning is making in common life. Okay, so let's get started. So as we are engineer, I will deep down into the engineering stuff. But before that, many people have this question in my mind: what is artificial intelligence? How it is different than the machine learning? What is deep learning? How it is different than the machine learning? Okay, so I will just clarify this three questions broadly on a high level before we'll jump into the actual action. So artificial intelligence is nothing but like, suppose you would like to do the work from a machine same like human do, as exactly like human, same the whatever the things we are doing, how we are thinking, how we are dealing with anyone, how we are dealing with machine, how we are dealing with object, how we are dealing with child, how we are dealing with adults. So this all the things which you can think in mind what the human can do, if the same we can mimic for a machine, then we call it as an artificial intelligence. It is a very broad category, okay, and it is very hard to achieve. Okay, now the machine learning is actually a subset of that. So few people say both are same and few people say it's a subset of that. So I will go ahead with this one. So machine learning is a subset of them. Here in this one, we actually feed the machine the history data, and depends upon some algorithm, it will predict some kind of a data, whatever is out of our interest or whatever we would like. Okay, so it just we feed the data and it actually predict. And the another best part of this will learn itself. Okay, by the time. Now the another thing is the deep learning. So deep learning is actually the also a subset of machine learning, but here there is a new thing comes into picture. New architecture has been given, that is called artificial neural network. So in our human brain we have a it's made up of neurons and it has a full neural network. Same mimic architecture has been created in the software that is called this ANN, called artificial neural network, and the machine learning models which works on them are called deep learning models. Okay, this is the high level introduction of all those things. Let's move ahead. Okay, so this is a very important part. Okay, so why it is important? Because take an example of this one. If this written by somebody, like if you will get a 6 hour to actually chop a tree. Okay, so what people are saying, the first 4 hour what I will invest sharpening the axe. Okay, so I have a total of 6 hours. On that portion, 60% of the time or 70% of the time I am investing to actually preparing myself to cut a tree. Okay, and the rest of this 30% of the time, 40% I am actually investing to do the execution. Same thing happens in machine learning. Okay, so whoever would like to become a machine learning engineer, who would like to become a data scientist, you should keep this in their mind. Whenever you go ahead and deal with any problem, the most of the time you will spend in the analysis. Okay, because there are a lot of options is available for programming, execution, or algorithm and all such things. But before that, you have to invest more time in the analysis. That is the most important. So to do that, there is one framework been given that most of the data scientists use for the machine learning, that is called CRISP-DM, called Cross Industry Standard Process for Data Mining. This is one of the framework which most of the industries and most of the data scientists and data engineers uses this. Okay, so how is this CRISP-DM framework? Okay, and guys, interrupt me if I'm going fast or if anything you could not understand. Please interrupt me. Pradeep, be an anchor and interrupt me if I am going.
No, not an issue. Not an issue.
Let's keep going. So there is a CRISP-DM framework in which it is being divided into the steps on which how you will deal with actually any machine learning or any business problem which you want to solve with using a machine learning. Okay, how you will address it. These are the step by step. First step is business understanding. Suppose you would like to solve a problem of the university. Okay, you would like to solve a problem of a bank. You would like to solve a problem of some kind of a factory. So first you need to understand their business. Okay, suppose you would like to solve a problem of some factory where they are making something like making a kind of a soda bottles or something, and depends upon the IoT data which you are getting, you need to predict something. Okay, so you need to first understand the business. Okay, same like with the bank. If you would like to predict like new customer, how much of percent of the new customer they will get in the next year. Okay, and the existing customers, will they close the account, they are happy with the services, or they can leave the bank services anytime. How could you predict that? So first you need to understand the domain. So business understanding is the most important. Any kind of a business problem you would like to solve, like you would like to solve a problem of your university, your college. So first you need to understand that problem, and you need to understand the education sector, how the things works in education sector. Then only you can solve this. First you need to understand. The second thing is the data understanding. For once you understand the business problem or business understanding, second you understand the data. What are the data already they are having, and how can you use this data? Okay, so if you would like to solve a business problem of any domain, first you need to understand the data. What is the data they are already having? Okay, and how you can use it. Okay, second is the data preparation. In most of the cases, the data which you already have, that data as it is we cannot use. Definitely as it is we cannot use. It has, most of the time it has a noise, or it has so much of extra information which we don't want, and sometimes the data has been at multiple places. Okay, suppose you would like to solve a problem for your college or a university. Data may be there at multiple. Some data will be there with the principal office, some data will be there with the HOD, some data will be there with lecturers, and some data will be there with the students. So you need to collect all this data in a single place, and then on the top of that you have to do your machine learning. Okay, so data preparation is very important, and here most of the time we have a data from multiple formats. Okay, so some data you collected from suppose university has few colleges, and they all store the data in their different format as they want. Okay, so once you collect the data, you need to make all this data into the same scale format. Okay, same, you have to normalize it, and then you need to put it into the same format so that you can feed it to a machine learning model. Now this is the actual heart of the machine learning, called data modeling. Okay, here actually what you do, first you need to understand the type of the problem you want to solve, and then you will identify the right algorithms, right kind of a data transformations, and then you will create a machine learning model. This is the whole heart of the machine learning, called data modeling. And once you are done with that, second is the testing of the data. So take an example, we'll go with the same example of your board exams. So many of you who came from a high school or high secondary, you have given the board exam, and many of the schools conduct the pre-board, right? All the schools don't conduct, but few school conduct the pre-board examination. So suppose you gone through the last 5 years of papers, examination paper, and you identify few questions which actually has a more probability come in the exam. And once you appeared your pre-board exam, actually not the actual board exam, but the pre-board exam. So that pre-board exam you can consider it's like a validation point to validate whatever you probabilities you identify the data is actually correct or not. Let's validate it. So you go to the pre-board, and then depends upon the questions you encounter in the pre-board. Oh yeah, what are the probabilities I calculated in my mind? It's correct. Yeah, my strategy is going right. Okay, then you are more confident to roll out it for the real production or real exam. Okay, but if your strategies get failed, somehow strategies get failed, then what you will do, you will correct your strategy back. So that is called data evaluation, which would be model evaluation. You actually validate your model. It's actually how much is correct. Let's validate with your validation data. And finally, how to use it, how the people will use it. You prepared everything, but it is useless until and unless people will use it. So you deploy the model. You deploy the model in multiple ways. Depends upon, is it on the internet? It is on the intranet. It is working on one machine. It is working on the multiple machines. So depends upon the type of the platforms. So you deploy it. You can deploy it as a service so that everybody can use it. You can deploy it as a kind of a command prompt, which anybody can use through commands. It's up to you. Okay, that's it. So let's get started one by one. First is the data understanding. So you need to collect the collect the relevant data. Don't collect the noise until you don't. If you not satisfied with the data, if some junk data and all, straight away discard it. Only collect the real relevant data. Then I will show you in the demo as well. Describe the real data, whatever the data you collect. It's good practice to document it. so that later point of a time, any of your colleague or any other engineer can easily read it. Okay, explore the more and more data. Okay, like multiple ways to explore. You can create a pie chart, a word cloud. You can create a bar chart and distribution chart, bell curve or anything, and describe your data. Explore as much as you want. So for this explore data, there is one tagline called "You torture the data, and actually the data will confess." So once you as much as explore the data, then only you will understand the real what exactly the data is talking about. Okay, then you can easily convert the data into the kind of a model. So suppose take an example of house prices if you would like to predict. Okay, what kind of a strategy you will put? That is different than predicting the diabetes, okay, of someone. So if you get some diabetes kind of a health report of someone and you need to predict the diabetes, that is a different problem than predicting the house prices next year or the share market prices. So these are total different things, and the verify the data is very important. The quality of the data which you are collecting, okay, and the most of that on the top of that, which is I have not mentioned here, you need to take a permission, right? Like if you are collecting data from your college, if you have to take a permission from the right authority, can I collect the data? Because right now the data collection is a big risk and it big threat as well for the company or the college. So without permission, don't collect the data. Take a proper permissions and then collect the data. Or if you are to like to do some research and something, collect the data from the open data sets which is available on internet. Okay. Now data preparation. This is more important. There are many times we have a missing values as well, right? Okay. So this is a missing values. We need to treat it very well. If you have a missing values, the model will learn from missing values. You have to remove this missing value. Okay. So either substitute this missing value with the average, either substitute with the percentile or anything, whatever you want. Outlier treatment. This is very, very much important. What is outlier? So suppose you have house prices you would like to predict, and you collected the house prices of the some kind of an area where the house prices are ranging from take an example of 10 lakh to 40 lakhs. Okay, you collected all the house prices which are from 10 lakh to 40 lakh in certain kind of an low profile areas. But suppose you feed some data with the prices of two houses which are in crores. Okay, now think about whenever you go ahead and take the average out of it, average will go high compared to all the majority of the houses prices. So this is very important. Remove the outliers. Okay, so it will not corrupt your the model and the data. Outlier treatment is very important. Removing the erroneous, whatever the error values or sometimes data has errors and all, try to remove it. Derive the new variables if required. Derive the new variables like suppose you have a height and the weight. Okay, so you can derive a new variable called BMI. That is the height divided by weight. No need of height and weight. Remove the height and weight. Only work with BMI. Similar like you can explore other options as well. Scaling the features. So here actually input, whatever the input we are putting to machine learning model, we call them as a features. So we need to scale it. Scaling is also very important, right? So suppose you collected some data into the percentage and some data into numbers. Okay, so both are different. Okay, some data is a range from 0 to 1, some data is range from 0 to 100. So some people calculate the percentage from or some range from 0 to 1. Okay, and some calculate from 0 to 100. So both are different, and some like it's similar like in the colleges right now. When we was there in college, it was our mark sheet, all thing is in the percentage. But right now I could see that CGPA, GP and all such things concept came. So suppose you collected few university marks in the CGPA and some in the percentage, both are as a different scales. So you need to bring all of this data into a single scale. That is called scaling the features. Otherwise your model will not learn properly. Format the data. If formatting is required, some like a date format, some is using a other date format like DDMMYY, some is using MMDDYY. So bring them into the common format. Not about date, but many other data also format we need to change. So this is most important. That's what I'm calling analysis is the most important in the data. Now second is this is the most important called data modeling. Here actually we'll understand the problem and define which algorithm you want to choose. So there are, I think, thousands of algorithms are available, but you need to choose the right algorithm for your machine learning model to use? First, you need to select which family it should fit. There are certain families of the machine learning. First, you need to fit into right family, and then you need to choose an algorithm. So I will show you. Meanwhile, I was just explaining. So now, after that, the testing of the model, validation of the model, that is important, and then deploy it as a service or the process, whatever you want. Okay. So this is an example, whatever I talked about. It's a workflow. Like you have a data. It doesn't matter what kind of a data. It's a text data, images, video, audio. It doesn't matter. Everything at the end is data. Okay. You collect the data. First, you need to prepare the data, identify the right features, means right input we need to put it in machine learning model. And then you need to select the right algorithm, which you need to select of machine learning model, and you need to feed all of this data to the machine learning model. And then finally, the output is a model. This is a model which going forward, you can use it for the predictions. Okay. Then you can deploy it as a service or process, whatever you want. Okay, now if here up to here there is no any question, please interrupt me. I'm again saying if I told anything wrong, or if you didn't understand. Okay, so let's move ahead. What are the types of machine learning's kind of families are there? Okay, so it is broadly divided into supervised and unsupervised machine learning. The supervised machine learning, which you already have a history data and it is a labeled data. Okay. Take an example of history data of a heart disease. Okay, you already have the data of something around 1,000 patients or 100,000 patients. What was the parameters of their health report, and the people has the heart problem or not, yes or no. Okay, and then you can use this data, existing history data, for doing a prediction. So we call this a labeled data. We already data is there and it's a labeled form. Okay, same like a data for other thing, like a sentiment analysis, like any sentiment, like you say any sentence, and what kind of sentence, like okay, MIT college is very good, like I have a good sentiment. So if I say today's news is really disturbing news, so kind of I have a low sentiment. So if you already have a kind of a history data, and which is in the labeled form, we call it as a supervised one. And again, in the supervised also again divided into classification and regression problem. So classification, you need to classify into categories. Like take an example of somebody has a heart disease or a diabetes, yes or no. We're classifying. Okay. And now the second classification, like suppose you have some bit of a service you want from a bank, like which kind of a category it should go. It should go in a credit card category, it should go in a debit card category, or you want to open a demat account, or you want house loan, car loan, or kind of a thing. There are multiple services of the bank. So actually, if I take you to give some description about what you want, and from this description you can identify which category this customer should go to, then that is called a multi-class classification. Like from a multiple category, I am classifying the problem. Okay. Now, second is the regression, right? Suppose you would like to predict the house prices for next month. Okay, or you would like to predict the share value of the next month or the next year or something. If you want to predict some number, and the data is history data in kind of a, you can represent the history data using some line, like I'm showing you in a regression here, then it is called a regression problem. Okay, if you can show the data, history data in kind of a using some straight line, then we call it as a regression problem. Some unsupervised learning is also in action. So suppose you don't have a label data, but you would like to identify the patterns. Like take an example from an Amazon or Flipkart. You would like to bucket the customer depends upon their purchase history. Like, okay, these are the kind of a high valued customer who always buy the kind of a high valued products like a washing machine, TV and all such things. And some category of people who always buy some kind of a daily uses items of the home. And some kind of a category like who all the time buy the books. So depends upon their purchasing history. If I am dividing the customer into multiple buckets, it is called clustering or unsupervised learning. So there is one thing called clustering. I'm creating multiple clusters of the data. So I can easily identify them. Okay. And second is the anomaly detection. This is majorly being used in the IoT. Okay. And just like take an example of you put some kind of a sensors in your house. Okay. Some kind of a temperature sensors. Okay. And you will get a kind of an alert on your mobile. Okay. So now if the temperature is going above some range, like a temperature moves above 45 degree in your home, you will identify, oh yeah, something is wrong in my house, why this temperature is going up. I will get an alert. Or some temperature is going below zero or something, then you will get an alert. Some kind of a high and low values which we can do it, and then we can call them anomaly detection. Why? Like suppose you will definitely come question me why I need a machine learning for that. I can easily do it using my programming. If else condition, if temperature is more than this value, it will send an alert. If the temperature is less than this value, it will send an alert. But actually it is not the case. Temperature can go in a spike as well. Suppose the temperature go for over 45 for just like a 1 microsecond. Still your program will throw it as an error or alert. So actually machine learning will always take a history data, identify the pattern, and if that pattern is keep on repeating, then it will like, oh, this is really an issue, right? So it happens in factories multiple times. The false alert can come, but actually it is for just microseconds or milliseconds, right? So machine learning will actually see the whole history data and it will create a pattern. Okay, this problem is keep on repeating for last 30 seconds or 1 minute, then I didn't, oh, this is an anomaly. Let's report it, kind of a thing. Okay, so let's move ahead, guys. Same thing I predicted here, supervised and unsupervised machine learning. And then we call in the regression problem, whenever we have a numbers to predict, we call them as a continuous variable. And we have some classification like a spam or ham email or heart disease, yes or no. We put it into some categories. Okay, called categorical variables. Okay, same like house prices. You can see it. I can represent this house price using a straight line. I can say it's a regression problem. Okay. Now, similar like blood sugar level, depends upon the blood sugar level. If I'm identifying it should go in a diabetes, yes or no, then it is a regression problem. Okay. So multiple algorithms are there. Like one is the logistic regression, also it can be used in such cases. Okay, so I will come back to some algorithm. I cannot explain all the algorithms, but I will explain few algorithms. Okay. The logistic regression is algorithm majorly being used for the kind of classification task. It can be either a binary classification between the two categories or the multi-class classification between the multiple categories. 1 minute, guys. Let me drink a water. Give me a minute. Okay, guys. Anybody has any question till the time, or am I disconnected?
No, you are fine.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Because great, guys. Okay. So now regression. This is logistic regression, and this here also we have a multiple algorithms like LSM or some other algorithm which we can use it for regression. This we can solve this with the linear regression. There is one algorithm in the called linear regression which we can use to solve the regression problem. Logistic regression is for the classification task. SVM is for the support vector machine. So suppose you have a kind of a complex problems which you want to categorize like a like see this pattern, like some data. One class is like a shell inside, and some other classes is outside. So such kind of a problem is a complex problem. Like here you can see the one class is inside, some classes are outside, and here you can divide data is divided into two categories which we cannot divide by a straight line. We have to put some hyperplane somewhere. Same like a data is in 3 dimension. We need to use some hyperplane. Kind of a thing. So some kind of a complex category where we need to classify the data, we use a support vector machine, which will help us to classify the data, which is not in the which is in the complex classification category. Some kind of a thing which you can classify using a tree kind of a structure. Like if you say I just heart disease problem, like some thal level is something, then I need to go and check other thing, then other thing, kind of a hierarchical level. you want to do such kind of a problem solving, then there is algorithm, category of algorithm called decision trees. Okay, so this is all about theory. Let me take you guys to some Python coding for an action. Probably you will enjoy that one. Okay, so here for this machine learning programming, we can use many languages, right? You can use Python, you can use R, you can use Java, you can use ML.NET, anything you can use. Okay, so because it's open source or something, I will prefer for you students to go ahead and use Python. This is one of the student language as well, so you can go ahead and explore this one. Okay, so almost in whatever the machine learning things is theory is in place. Most of them libraries are available in the Python, which you can easily go ahead and use. So few library I'm using it here. One is the scikit-learn. This is one of the library for the machine learning that most of the algorithms and other things you can find it here. Matplotlib is one of the library for plotting the graphs and the kind of a graphical representation of your data. Okay, other things are just like you can understand slowly. NumPy is for matrix calculation. NLTK is for natural language. Suppose you want to read the natural language toolkit. Suppose you want to take input from a natural language and you need to identify what exactly user is talking about. Then all the libraries are there. This is the kind of a library which convert actually your text representation to the vector representation. Vector in the sense here we call matrix, we call it as a vector. Okay, so let's get started. Okay, let me first import all the libraries. Okay, I imported all the libraries. Second thing is these are all the other libraries which I can use. Now this is the customer complaints data. So I took some kind of a huge data so I can show you some power of machine learning. So I took some customer complaint data, which is 542 MB. This is a very huge data, and I collected it from the open source Kaggle. Okay, let's read this data. So for this one, I'm just reading this data, whole CSV and it will take little time because it's a very huge data. I'm reading it into here, into data frame, but it's still, because it has a 1 million of data, but it's still, you see it just read this whole data into some milliseconds. Okay, now let's see this is the shape. I'm just how much data I have. So you can see I have a 1 million of records. Okay, and 19 columns. So this is the whole data. So that's what I was talking about. So what is this data is? Data is about the bank. Okay, so bank has many services. We call this many product like custom, like a credit card, loan, credit card, mortgage, loan, credit card, debit collection. So many things are there in place. And depends upon the user customer complaint, I need to identify this complaint should go in which category. But you see that I have so much of other data, which is not irrelevant. I don't want this data. So I'm just telling that, okay, give me only the columns of customer complaint and the product. Okay, just I took only these two and put it into data frame. And now this is very important. Now my data, many of my data record like just like you can see the product or the customer complaint, anything can have a null values as well. So if you see, we need to remove all the missing values or null values. So I'm saying here, okay, remove all the null values. Drop NA means null values. Now if I see data after null values, but it's still having a null values. So it dropped the null values, which is null values on both the columns. Okay, but some null values are here in my customer complaint. So many null values, and it is irrelevant. Okay, so what I will do, I will use the drop NA and then remove the null values from the customer complaint. Okay, now let's see the data again. What data is talking? See, all the null values get removed. So I have a data. Okay, now let me check the shape of the data again. So if I should removing this one. Okay, so from 1 million, now my data is reduced to 277,000. Okay, this is a huge amount we removed. We removed the null values and then data is reduced a huge amount from 1 million to the 277. Almost kind of a 60-70% we removed. Yeah. Now let's see. I can export it to some place if I want. So I'm not exporting it right now. But now let's see how many unique product this bank is having. So I'm just putting this unique. Okay, so total categories are 18. So from the whole data, I need to classify my data problem into 18 categories. Okay, so this is my multi-class classification problem. I need to classify. Okay, so these are the customer complaints. So I need the customer complaint. I need to read the customer complaint, which is in a natural language. So something like you go and write a complaint to a bank. Okay, you go ahead and write a complaint to a bank. What is the problem? Like you go ahead and write some application to bank. Oh, this is the problem I'm facing. Blah blah blah. Can you? My credit card is blocked. My bank account is not working. Internet account is not working. Blah blah blah. Things you tell your bank, and from this natural language, I will identify which actually the product is. Okay, which kind of a service you want from a bank. So that's what the total is. 18 services. Total is I need to identify from a total 18 services what the bank is having. Okay, and now here I was. Okay, now let's see. Let the data speak something to me. What exactly going on in data? So I'm making a bar chart. Okay, so from the last history of data, what is the customer complaint I received? You can see the count. I'm making this called count plot. Would actually make a plot and which count the number of kind of a data in each category and count. Like you see, for a debit collection, I received most of the complaint. For mortgage, the second highest complaint. For credit card, most of the complaint. And you see the other financial services, hardly some complaint. Money transfer, hardly some complaints. Okay, prepaid card, hardly some complaints. Virtual currency, some kind of a personal loan or something, less complaints. Okay, so from this data, I understand how much of data I'm having and what are the complaints or data is. It explain you. Okay, now let's see. I'm just putting into some other data frame and I'm just arranging this data and just counting this data into numbers. So right now I represent through a graph. Let's actually see the number wise. So bank account, this much complaint, credit card, this much complaint. Let's sort it out. Okay, so I'm just sorting out. So most of the data complaint I received, how much actually I received. So this is I sorted out using my sort function. Okay, now I can see, oh, how much data I'm having. Now, whenever you go with now, what exactly next thing is you can see the data which I'm getting, the complaints I'm getting into natural language. Like somebody's talking mortgage was transferred to the something blah blah blah. Since then our payment are not posted in the timely manner, blah blah blah. So somebody is really talking in the natural language. Okay, so I need to understand. So as a machine, I need to understand the natural language. Okay. So depends upon the customer complaint. Now I need to understand the customer complaint and then I need to predict. Okay. So you know, whenever we talk in our natural language, most of the word what we use was, to, as, of, and we in a machine learning, we call them as a stop words. These are irrelevant. These are all the irrelevant words. So I'm removing all the stop words. So for that, I'm using a WordNet kind of a library and then removing all the stop words from here. And then I'm just plotting the word cloud. So many people may be aware of the word cloud. So from the whole data, what people are talking about, okay? Let's see. See the word cloud. The more bigger the font is, it means the more time this word is being appeared in your data, like collection, reporting, mortgage, credit. So this is actually explain some more insight into your data. Now let's plot this into a kind of a how much share, like a pie chart. So you can see how much from the total 100% of the product share, how much is the share for each of the complaint. So this will help the bank to put the more customer like call center employees or some people into that category. So if I'm getting a less complaint into customer loan, why should the bank put more employees there? So they should put more employees into this category. Okay, so this way you can do the analysis as well. Now let's come back to the next section. Now we finish our analysis. Now let's come back to the next session called the model building. So for that I'm using a scikit-learn, sklearn, and train test split. So whatever the total data which we are having, we are dividing the data into the 70-30. So 70% of the data I will use for training my machine learning model, and 30% of the data I will use for testing my model. So you can say 70% is your 5 years of question papers which you collected, okay, and 30% is your pre-board examination, which you actually do the validation on really this data is valid or not. Okay, so let me divide the data into the train and test. So what I'm doing for X and Y, X will be my customer complaint, okay, and Y is my product. This is my label. I'm removing the label from the actual data. So now your data will be like this. See, I'm already, this is all the indexes. Forget about these are just indexes. So I'm already having a customer complaint. Let me put it to 50. All the day I'm having just a one column called customer complaint, and my model should read all these things and predict the Y, which later on I will validate. Okay, same like Y I'm putting my all the product categories there. Same like it is for I'm just putting a shape. So how much is train data? 194,000 record I'm taking for training, and 83,000 I am for using for testing. Okay. Now, second is which algorithm to choose. There are multiple ways to choose the algorithm. So this is one algorithm called multinomial naive Bayes algorithm, which works on the probability. So you guys, this is an exercise for you. Go ahead and read this algorithm. But I'm just saying this is one of the algorithms which we can use for kind of a classification problem. And this pipeline, another thing I will explain further on. But yeah, count vectorizer I'm using to convert my text data into the matrix format. Okay. Okay, because machine learning is the end of the day, the machine learning is nothing but the mathematics. Okay, it always works on the numbers. So we need to convert our data into the numerical format. This will be done by the one library called count vectorizer. Okay, that will use it. This for checking the accuracy. This is another one of the library which you can explore. This is also one of the library for bag of words, which will use for your bag of words representation. That's also, I think you guys can go ahead and read it about. This is one exercise for you. So let me import these libraries. Okay. Now, steps by step, what we have to do. First, my data is in this format. See, all the data is in the natural language. This is all the human talking language, natural language. So I need to convert this data into the matrix representation. First, I will use this pipeline. Pipeline has a steps. First step is convert this data into the matrix format. Second is apply the algorithm. Okay. That's it. You are done. Once you apply the algorithm, you will pass your kind of training data. This is all my training data to train the model. This is my model, and I'm training this data with this one. And then once it is get trained, my model is ready. Now this is my pre-board examination. I'm checking the accuracy. How I will check the accuracy? I will pass my test data, and it will predict me. This is a prediction, and I will compare my prediction with the actual test. This is my predicted value, and this is actual testing value. These actual labels, and the difference between them is the accuracy score. How much the accurate the model is. Let's see. So this will take little time to train because the data is very huge. Okay, it will take little time to train the model. Okay, in meanwhile, I will tell you one thing which you can read it like a. Bag of words. So this is the important thing which actually change your whole data, whatever you are talking about, into some kind of a categorical format, which is actually the count vectorizer will do, or the TF-ID vectorizer will do, which you guys go ahead and use. You can learn by yourself. Okay. This is what we are doing, and yeah, it's still training the machine learning model. So yeah, I have a different one which is already trained. So I can, if you want, I can use it here. This one I already trained model back. So this is my model, which is a trained model. So I just see like the accuracy. This model is giving just like a 68% of accuracy. So this is okay accuracy, but not the good accuracy. Okay. So this my model prediction accuracy is just like a 68%. Okay. So what is the model I created is just a 68% accurate. So same thing, it's done. You can see. Now let's see how much is the accuracy of the model. 68% of accuracy. So my model is just a 68% accurate. And let's see the classification report. So all the categories which I'm already having. So this actually function will show each category like how much is the kind of an accuracy for like bank account services. For precision recall is the another concepts which you guys can go ahead and read it. But for now, I will tell you precision means how much is the actual true and how much the model predicted as true, and how much is the actual true model should be predicting and how much actually get predicted. So this precision recall is, you can read it about this is based on the confusion matrix. Now, these are all the values. You can plot it, and one by one category you can go ahead. Like for this one, because you can say other financial data, it has a 0% accuracy. You can see why it is 0. So now you can understand why it is 0 from this one. See the data. As much as less data you having, model will learn very less. Okay. The same thing you can see here. Model will learn very less because you don't have enough data to train the model. Same like payday, loan, title, loan, personal loan, the you can only 0.37. Okay, and 0.03. Why? Because data is very less. Okay, so now you can understand. Second one, let's see what are the, try with some other algorithm. Like let me try with logistic regression algorithm. Okay, so I'm just training this model with logistic regression algorithm because it will take little time to train, and I already trained it here with logistic regression. You can see the logistic regression is giving a more accuracy. It has a 73% of accuracy than my compared to the Neo based model. Same thing you can use other models as well. You can see I shown you one model called tree. Okay, so this also you can use. So this is called random forest. This is one of the tree family algorithm. That's also you can use it. Or you have multiple options to try in that category. Okay, now actually now you will see a model I created. Now what else? Model train means what else? What exactly the training of model and how I will use it. Okay, so let's see. Let's using our human kind of a writing. Let's see what the model is predicting. Okay, so let me create one kind of a list and we'll show you. So okay, so this is my model which I created called logrec model. Okay, now let's do a prediction. So we have to call one function called predict, and you have to pass your data into an array. Okay, array is I think you guys are aware of what is an array. So I'm creating an array. Okay, and in array I just put only one kind of a my data. So like I purchase a new car, blah blah blah, my account number, the car dealer called Citibank to get a 10% off, blah blah blah. Good deal. This dealer sends a check back. Some customer complaint I put it. Okay, okay, and this customer complaint. Let me see how my model is predicting. So I put this customer complaint into my model, this whole data into my model, and let what the model is saying. So it predicted something, some object. Let me print out this object. Customer loan. Okay, so what the user is talking about the customer loan. It's talking about the loan. Okay, and the same you can see from data as well. Now let's see the sum. Let's change something. Okay, we was happy card member something blah blah years, and then converted the card portfolio to blah 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 card balance, carry on balance, and so here we understand the customer is actually talking about something related to card or credit card or something. Let me put this into here. Let me see what it's predicting. It's predicting like a credit card. Okay, so let me see some other kind of what like I would be interested to open a new bank account, something. Okay, just like a human readable way I put it, and then let me tell you what it's predicting. Okay, bank account or services. Same like you can put anything else if you want. Yeah, so it will predict like, let me put double one by one. Okay, so we can test this scenario like, okay, my car loan has kind of my car loan has my car loan missed some payments. I missed some payments for my car loan. For my car loan, I missed some payments or something. Okay, so I don't know. Let's see. I'm writing it here, both lists, and let's see what it's predicting. So first sentence it will predict into the bank account or services. The second one into the some loan, customer loan. Okay. So this is the model you have. Now you can use the libraries to save this model into your machine, and you can deploy this model into as a service, process, or anything whatever you want. That's, I think it's up to you to use it. Okay, I will leave you up to you guys. Okay. See, the model is still training because it's a huge kind of a data and the model. Okay, so that's it from my side. I think we are almost on time, and I think more than that. So you guys have any question, please feel free to ask me.
So anybody is having any questions? Any questions?
Yeah, this model is also trained here. I can see. Yeah, its model is also trained. It has a 73% accuracy. Yeah.